Hey guys, what is going on? It is your boy, and we are back with Sailor Moon Eternal, the movie part 2. Sorry guys that this one is so late. I don't do a script to, do my review of the movie because I want you guys to have my authentic, non robotic type self, even though I probably should do a script. But I don't, so that's why it took me a while. And then every time I get into watching Sailor Moon Eternal, I get emotional. This always happens with me with the original, Crystal, and now Eternal. So Naoko knows how to pull my emotional strings. That woman has a way with storytelling, and I love it. Okay, so to keep this one from being as long as the last one, let's just go ahead and get into it. So we start off where we left. Well, we start off in another, it's still the same time, but in a different part of the city. So we are getting we're getting the outer sailors, and we're seeing how they, adapted to life after, the whole Mistress Nine and Pharaoh 90 situation, and in season 3. So we're getting to see what happened to them. And what I do like about this is not like the original and Sailor. They didn't wait till Sailor Stars to bring the Outer Guardians back. They brought them back where they were supposed to come back in the second half of Sailor Moon Super S, but they waited to bring them back in Sailor Stars, and the first 6 episodes were about them, which I liked, but we didn't get no context of why they coming back. So in the movie they give us that. So they move out of the city during the 6 months that they had peace. Michiru, she went overseas to do her. She was playing overseas. You had Haruka, she was going on racing, and Setsuna, she was working in a, I don't, well, was it a laboratory or was it observatory? I think it was an observatory. So they were leading normal lives. They're figuring that the fighting is over, and so they have one thing in common, and that is raising baby Hotaru. Now, remember, at the end of Super, Hotaru ended up being reborn because when she was, her development did not it got distorted by, being, by her being corrupted by Mistress Nine. So she never really got a true a rebirth until now. So they're all going. So they're all going about their daily lives, and we're finding out what happened. So Michiru is out buying flowers. Her fans ends up coming up to her, looking, astonished to see her. Then Haruka comes up, and now they're figuring out if these two are married. So Setsuna is at home babysitting Hotaru. Hotaru is getting into everything that a child does. And I'm just like, oh my god. I would have been thrown Hotaru outside on her ass. But, so, they come home. And, Michiru is upset that her, good china are destroyed. Haruka is, they're pondering because it's like, on the way home, Hotaru wants to buy baby stuff, but Hotaru is out of. Michiru says Hotaru has outgrown all of that, so there's no way that she should be, in that. So Setsuna is she was sitting at the desk and she was pondering, going over what's been going on since the eclipse. So while she was there, she noticed that the eclipse was going on, and she ends up trying to go out to investigate. So she tries to transform, but she can't. So she doesn't know why she can't transform. So so as they go over trying to figure out what's going on with Hotaru. Hotaru wants to have fun, but she's got to do some violin classes with Michiru. So there's some children that comes over, and they're doing violin too. So when Hotaru turn comes up, they're scared. So they're like, wait for it, wait for it. And when they do, when she starts playing, you see Pegasus, and the children get scared because they're like, why is this ghost horse always comes up? And then they're talking about the ghost girl. So Pegasus and the ghost girl, who we already know who it is, and Michiru already makes connection of who that is. So Hotaru goes and chasing after them, and she's wondering why the Pegasus. She said, "Why is the girl crying?" I know why, because the Pegasus is dead. Now Michiru makes notice that Hotaru can be energetic, fun, and caring, but there's times where she gets this cold stare and uncaring, and this unsettling feeling that she gets when Hotaru does that reminds her of Sailor Saturn. Now y'all know Sailor Saturn is the soldier of destruction and soldier of rebirth, and I love Sailor Saturn, and I was so mad that she did not get the representation that she needed in Sailor Stars in the original. But we're not going to talk about that. So let's move on. So the kids go home, and Hotaru and I was going to say Michiru. Haruka, while Michiru's in the kitchen cooking, she's pondering about how Hotaru is growing fast. And so they go into the bedroom where Haruka and Hotaru are doing this. She's channeling her abilities. Now Saturn is very powerful. She's not as powerful as Sailor Moon, but she's there. She's like close behind her, and she's and this is what I like that they kept a reference to in the original, where Hotaru made the whole entire solar system. And Haruka was using this to challenge her powers and hold her powers in check, because if she gets frustrated, she blows up everything. So they're looking at everything, and they notice how she developed the whole entire solar system, all the planets, all the stars. And there's 4 asteroids that are there that are in distress that she makes notice of. And then not only that, they see that it's a dark cloud over the moon and also over the earth. They're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Setsuna comes in, and she makes notice. She takes them into the kitchen, the living room area, and begins to tell them about what happened 6 months ago. Michiru makes notice of, yes, we know because it happened to us. I was over in Venice. Haruka was in Africa, and you was at the observatory. So we know that we cannot transform. So they're trying to figure out why can't they transform, and why they haven't been able to, protect the planet, because they know that something is coming. Hotaru is in the bathroom, she's getting ready to take a bath as the storm grows stronger. So she turns to the mirror, and she sees Sailor Saturn. And she's like, "Who are you?" And Sailor Saturn says, I am someone that is sleeping inside of you. It is time for you to wake up, because we have a new mission that we must deal with." And so Sailor Saturn she doesn't touch her like I liked in the original, but what she does is Hotaru gets into the bathtub, and she starts to see all these memories of what was going on in Crystal, where in season 3, where she's trying to remember what's going on. She's trying to get all these memories together. She's like, I remember everything. So she got all of her memories. So while the other 3 are in the living room, she comes out the bedroom. She comes out, and she's a lot older than she was when she went into the bathroom. So they are looking at her like, okay, are you? Because Haruka was like, Hotaru, are you who we think you are? So she comes out philosophical. What I love about her, she like talks in riddles, and she talks very philosophical, and giving very smart. So she's like, I am. She said, I have been reborn, but I'm not the person that I was the last time. And she said, even though, because if you read the manga, which I know some of you on my review channel have not, because most of you probably don't know about Sailor Moon. But if you do, then you know what I'm talking about. If you read the manga, in the manga, it was stated that the Outer Guardians and the Inner Guardians were never meant to work together. And that's technically what she was saying, that they were never supposed to work together. The Outer Guardians' duty was to protect the outer galaxy, to keep, outside forces from coming into the galaxy, where the Inner Guardians were always supposed to protect the princess. So she's telling them, now this is a new time and a new day. We, with the new life that the queen has given us, so we need to, use this life. So she said, thank you for guiding me, raising me, and bringing me, into fulfillment. So it's my turn to give you guys it's my turn to guide you all. So what she does is she brings forth her Sailor Crystal, and she also brings their Sailor Crystals. So once they take their Sailor Crystals, they were able to transform again. So now we get to where we left off, where Venus, Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter are tied up by the quartet. So the quartet are sending them into distress. Now Haruka, Michiru, Hotaru, and Setsuna, they come in, and they make these little comments about how hot it is, and they're trying to make a dramatic entrance. And Setsuna said it would be kind of good, but if it was hot. I mean, if it wasn't, she said this would have been really good, but it's fake. And so the other girls are looking like, Venus was like, is this? And so she was like, oh my goodness, could it be? And so they transform. They become, you got Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Saturn, all transform. And I get so emotional. I got so emotional doing this. I'm like, why am I crying? Oh my God, this is. I was just like, why? So as they transform, Uranus uses world shaking. I love her world shaking. I kind of like the original better, but I do like the movie version. So she uses it to push, I think it was Pada and June back. So as they jumped back, on the other side of town, you got Chibiusa checking on Sailor Moon. So Sailor Saturn ends up touching the ground to communicate with her telepathically, and so her and Usagi hears this. So Chibiusa goes to the mirror and see that the other four guardians have returned. So as she sees they have returned, she gets the mirror. She transforms, and the mirror ends up going back to Michiru. So she ends up going into town while Usagi is coming behind her. So Michiru mirror appears to her, and she ends up using it against the tip, because she wanted the other four to see that it was a farce, but not before all four of them were fighting the quartet. They were fighting the quartet and pushing them back. So at this point, Venus, was asking why were they there? Why did they come back? And Uranus was like, "We're back because Sailor Saturn gave us visions of the prince and princesses in danger, so we had to reunite with you." So this is news to them because they did not know what was going on. So Venus said, "Well, we should tell Sailor Moon," and Mercury agreed, but Uranus was like, "You should tell her, but I don't think you can." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" So as they were trying to find out what she was saying, the quartet end up, well, at this point, Sailor Chibi Moon comes in. Now, Sailor Moon is right behind her, and they were on the Juban district, and Chibiusa was looking at how bad it was. So she ended up getting to the point where the Dark Moon Circus headquarters were. So she gets there. Sailor Moon touches her on the back. This is right after Usagi and Mamoru meets up in the street. So they end up, meeting up with her. So they get to the part where they see Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Saturn. And as they was watching, as they were, calling for them, Zirconia comes up, introduces herself, and end up taking putting a spell on Mamoru and Usagi, making them young. So as they fall to the ground, from the spell, Pegasus, which Helios, he comes in and he takes them to Elysium to try to keep them from dying, because the curse that was on them was actually killing them, from what Zirconia had said. So the other girls are standing around looking. So Chibi Moon, while the quartet left, Chibi Moon and Saturn end up leaving as well. So they going off running to try to save Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask. So Chibi Moon was like, she seems different, but I don't know. So she ends up saying, Sailor Saturn, I think she asked her, why are you here? She said, "You grown." And Sailor Saturn was like, "Yes, I had to grow so I can fulfill my duty." And then, because if you guys know, Sailor Saturn's duty is to destroy and reset. So if there becomes a point where she deems that the world needs to be reset, she would destroy everything. And in time, things will go back. Time will reset it, not reset, but it will be a new beginning. So that's what Chibi Moon is kind of scared of. But no, Sailor Saturn was like, "And I also grew so I can fight beside you," because remember, they became good friends, and I love their friendship. But the only thing that I was hoping they did not do was take Saturn and put her with Chibi Moon when she had her own team, because Saturn is basically Usagi's guardian, and she's a part of Usagi's main core team. Chibi Moon needs her own her own core team. Oh, we'll talk about that in a minute. So they go in and Saturn becomes a beast. Oh my God. She's throwing, the quartet are going after her. She throws a, silent wall. Then, she turns around and uses Silent Glaive Surprise, which she never uses that. In the original, they made Silent Glaive Surprise to be like a world-ending attack. Almost like Death Reborn Revolution, which is the main attack that she should not use because that will destroy everything. But they made Silent Glaive Surprise almost like a world-ending type technique too, which I like here. They didn't do that. So she tells the quartet they need to wake up because they are under a spell and that they should not be, they shouldn't even be awakened. So they were like, we do belong here. We were born on the dark moon. So as Saturn tries to, persuade them to, wake up, as she was trying, her and June was about to touch each other to shake hands, Zarconia comes up and put the girls back into their stones, and she ends up putting Saturn and Chibi Moon in, glass shards. So she tells the quartets, "We took you in. I took you in up under my wing, and this is how you repay me." And I'm just sitting here like, bitch, you kidnapped them. So how you gonna sit here and say you took them under your wing when you kidnapped them? So she ends up putting them inside the mirror. And who is inside the mirror? The one and only villainess of this whole arc, Queen Nehelenia. Queen Nehelenia is in there, and she's gloating. So in Elysium, you got Usagi and Mamoru. They're like unconscious, but they're like in a dream state. And so Usagi is looking. She is dreaming that of her life with Mamoru. So Mamoru is the total perfect boyfriend that she wants, right? She wants everything that Mamoru is right now is the way she wants him. And she is so, he's done her homework. He's cooked her breakfast. He tells her that, his dream is to, walk to school hand in hand with her. Now, mind you guys, the fourth arc of Sailor Moon Super S, is the dream arc. So every time you hear them talk about dreams, this is why, because this is the main arc. This is the main villain's powers, is to inflict nightmares to where everybody must think of their dreams in order to combat the nightmares. So as Usagi is being skeptical about the whole situation, she asked Mamoru what was his dream, and he said, "My dream is to marry you." So she was like, wait. She was like, "Well, what about you becoming a doctor?" And he was like, by the time he got a chance to answer, Mamoru is calling out to her. So she wakes up and she was like, "Oh my God, it was a dream. I am so mad." So she goes through the grief, but then Helios is right there in front of them, and he's telling them, Usagi, yells out his name, and he was like, "Keep your voice down. We got to get over to that shrine before Nella Helenia find out we're here." So they're trying to figure out what is this place. And so as they were walking over to the shrine, Mamoru starts to feel a connection to this place, and he's like, "What is this place?" He says, and he was saying this, in his mind, where Helios heard, can hear him telepathically and explain to him that this is his home world. This is the Golden Kingdom of Elysium. It is the kingdom of Earth. It sits within the middle of Earth, and like a beacon to keep, for him to protect, Earth, and and that's how the generals came in: Nephrite, Jedi, Zoisite, and Kunzite. But they were all on the surface protecting the world, and they had like this. They had like a part of the world that they protected. And Helios was the priest, and he stayed within Elysium, praying to keep, Earth, in good condition. So he was told, so it was always told that the Princess of the Moon and the Prince of Earth should have never met. The two kingdoms should have never came together, which he always went above surface, and that's how him and Serenity met. And when they did, the two kingdoms come together, And now, now they need, Helios tells Usagi that she needs to, unlock um, Mamoru's golden crystal. So he's like a crystal. So he was like, there was two crystals. Each kingdom had a crystal. The silver crystal of the silver millennium, and the golden crystal of the golden kingdom. And so he said he had got a vision from a message from a maiden. She said her name was Lady Serenity, and the message that she got was there will be a princess, also a guardian, who will be able to break the spell of the golden crystal. So he immediately thought it was Sailor Moon, which it truly really is. But because you have to think about it, she's the Usagi is very, very powerful. And that's what I loved about this series, that they made her as powerful as the creator wanted her. And you finally get to see the power she possesses. In the original, they talk about it, but you don't really see it. And you don't really see her wield this type of power. She's strong, but you don't really see her use this power. And we're going to talk about it in a few minutes. So he tells Sailor Moon that she needs to find his crystal and unlock it. So she was like, she doesn't know where it is, and he said it could be anywhere. So she thought about it. Well, if mine was unlocked inside me, then his should be as well. So as she said that, his chest starts to glow. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all that they had two more priestesses locked up in the crystal that Elysion had, encased them in. So as they keep going, as Mamoru's chest starts glowing, it's still not, unlocked yet, but they technically found it. So as they were going up a little further, they see the cage where Helios is. So Usagi runs to it, and she tries to get him out and ends up getting shot. So coming out of the trips of darkness is Nehelenia herself. So Nehelenia comes out and tries to take. Well, is she trying? Did she try? Oh yeah, she was trying to. She introduces herself as Queen Nehelenia, but she doesn't. She doesn't really introduce herself at this point. Helios ends up sending Mamoru and Usagi back up to the top. So to get back up to the top, she ends up transforming back into Sailor Moon. So, and the girls were still sitting in the same damn spot. And I'm sitting here like, okay, two of you have gone, the daughter and the destroyer. And the rest of you are sitting here waiting for the prince and princess to come back, which, when they came back, Usagi says, where is Chibi Moon and Saturn? Uranus was like, we haven't seen them since they went after the quartet. So, Zarconia comes up, and she starts putting a spell on them, and she kind of makes it hot, and they started passing out. So as they were passing out, Sailor Moon tries not to pass out, but she ends up she sees her friends in this purple force field where they're knocked out. Her hands turns to stone because Venus picks up Sailor Moon when she passes out. She picks her up and she turns it to complete dust. And so she screams. So this is where Tuxedo Mask slaps Usagi to wake her up. He was like, we cannot let them win. We have to get up and we have to keep on fighting. So they were like, so at this point, Helios ends up sending, the last of Elysion's power up to the surface. So to try to keep them cool. So the 8 Guardians get together and they use planet power, and to push Zarkonia back. So they go to so after they weaken Zarkonia, they end up running toward the tent. They get to the tent. Sailor Moon ends up running through the mirror, and once she gets into the mirror, that's when she gets introduced to Zarkon. I mean Nehalenia. So she felt there was warriors there that protects Earth. So she's trying to figure out. She knew it was Sailor Chibi Moon and Sailor Saturn, but there was 4 more she did not recognize. So Nehalenia tries to, keep Sailor Moon trapped. She uses Moon Gorgeous meditation to, free her and her friends. Free herself, and she hits parts of the mirror where Saturn and Chibi Moon comes out. Nehalenia gets weakened a little bit because you can see her face cracking, and she kind of darts off into the darkness. Sailor Moon yells out that she's got Saturn and Chibi Moon, and she needs them to break the mirror. Jupiter and Sailor Mercury end up breaking the glass, and once they break the glass, Sailor Moon, Saturn, and Chibi Moon comes out. So I forgot to tell y'all, when Helios sent up the last little bit of his energy with Elysion, he ended up dying. That's why Zarkonia was able to fight against the soldiers like she did. So they're trying. So now they're kind of in despair because they thought they defeated it. They thought everything was good, but Mamoru said no, something is not right. He was like, okay, so I know where they've gone. So him and Usagi said Elysion. So Chibi Moon was like, we're coming too. So no, Sailor Moon was like, no, you all must stay here because it's too dangerous. Chibi Moon was like, I want to see Helios, so I want to go with y'all. So they look at each other and they was like, okay, everybody, we're gonna go together. So I forget to tell y'all about Artemis, Luna, and Diana's, but they were so irrelevant to the plot. But the reason why they were irrelevant because they were at the command center. Diana wants to, as the world is coming, as they don't hear anything from the Guardians, she wants to run off. But I'm like, Diana, what? You're familiar. How do you even have powers to, protect somebody? You're going to get yourself hurt. And so, Luna do tell her to, stand down. Artemis said the Guardians we know won't go down so easily. So don't fret. So they teleport to Elysion. They come to Elysion, and they're going to the temple. They get to the temple, and this is where the battle really begins. So Nehalenia, when Chibi Moon goes to try to get the 2 priests are awakened, and they see when they see Helios, Chibi Moon tries to run over to him, but Usagi stops her and says, if you go over there, you're going to get shot. And she screams out to Helios and tells him to wake up, and this is when Nehalenia comes out. And she comes out and she introduces herself to everybody this time. Now, this is where things get interesting because they took parts of Oh wait, not yet. I'm not gonna tell y'all just yet. It's coming in a few seconds. Sailor Moon ends up trying to use Moon Gorgeous meditation against Netahelenia, but Netahelenia end up reversing it back onto them. So this is where I was about to tell y'all. They took elements of the first half of the manga from the Dark Kingdom saga and put it in this one because this was not in the original manga. And Usagi hears a voice calling out to her, calling Serenity, and it's Queen Serenity. I love Queen Serenity. Queen Serenity had a baby, which is Serenity, who's now Usagi. So you see Mars, Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury come in. Now they are princesses of their own planet and of this solar system, but since Usagi is the high princess, of them all, they are her, royal deity protectors. So she's still a baby at this point. So Queen Serenity says she would end up growing. She would grow fast to catch up with you all. So the court people, started bringing Serenity gifts, for Serenity and herself. But then there's also an uninvited guest. So they find out Nehelenia was way back in the during the Silver Millennium. They met her before, and Mars remembers it, but she said this was a memory that she did not want to remember, so she used to put this memory out of her mind. And she comes in to say you had a baby and you didn't invite me. So Serenity was like, if you want peace, if you're here for peace, welcome, but if you're not, you got to go. And so now Hellenius tells Serenity that she's not even a part of this galaxy. She came here, from another part of the galaxy herself. And so therefore, this moon is hers. And she's gonna, take it over. So Serenity ends up encasing Nehelenia into the mirror. So that's because Usagi says this mirror seems familiar. Why was it in the Queen's room? It was Queen Serenity's mirror, but then she encased Nehelenia in the mirror and cursed her. So as she's being sealed, Nehelenia says she's gonna curse the Moon Kingdom. She said the queen. She said the princess would never ascend to the throne, and the Silver Millennium would come crashing down. And so I forgot which guardian said this, that how can a curse destroy the millennium, the Silver Millennium. But Saturn says the calamity of the Moon Kingdom did start after the whole after she cursed them, because Beryl and Metalia came right, I guess, some years after that, because Saturn is the one that destroyed the Silver Millennium and sent everybody, and killed everybody. I'm trying to remember, because she alludes to the Dark Moon Kingdom coming in during this whole time. So, and that's when she destroyed, the Silver Millennium. So it's now time for, Nehelenia comes in and tries to steal the silver crystal. Usagi, because now she was like, she has all the power that she needs. Usagi says, you don't get, you can't take power, you create it. So when she says that, she gets the crystal back, Tuxedo Mask is crystal is unlocked, and everybody is stripped of their their sailor suits, and now that they have their little consciousnesses that come into them, and letting them know that they're all princesses, and they needed to give Sailor Moon their power and of their moons of their planetary stations. Now they do have planetary stations, and the planetary stations we'll see in Sailor Stars when the Stars arc come around. And so they needed the power of their moon stations in order to make, to give Sailor Moon power. So they do that, and they end up making, Sailor Moon ends up becoming Eternal Sailor Moon. And this is my favorite variation of her. So Diana, Artemis, and Luna were there with them, and they become, they're in their human forms. And the other girls, after they, combined their powers, they got new outfits. New outfits. They got the same transformations, but new outfits. The final form, and this is where Naoko, the creator of Sailor Moon, this is where she was pissed in the original, because you don't get to see them wearing their final outfits. They were wearing their super outfits, except Sailor Moon, which she was in her eternal form, and she was pissed. She was like, she don't understand why they didn't give them the final outfits. She was so mad, but she made a lot of money off of this. But she was so mad, which I can understand. So now she gets redemption in this, because they all are in their final forms, and Sailor Moon ends up, making her tiara, as she called tiara. I don't know why they call it tiara, but I always thought it was tear. And she ends up, using Moon, Starlight Honeymoon Therapy Kiss against Nehelenia, killing her instantly. Now, as she was corroding, she wanted Endymion, which is Mamoru. She wanted Endymion to give her his crystal, so she can live on eternally and become the queen of the moon. I'm sitting here like, bitch, why the hell would you even think this man would give up his crystal to the fun, to fuel your evil deeds? So as she dies off, everybody is in their eternal forms, which I love. And if you guys see my intro, you'll see the eternal forms. So as they're sitting, Usagi ends up becoming Queen Neo Serenity, where Tuxedo Mask becomes King Endymion. Chibi Moon goes over to wake up. She goes over to Helios. She kisses him, and her silver crystal comes out and becomes the pink moon crystal. And I forgot to tell y'all, Sailor Moon's silver crystal evolved into the silver moon crystal. And we're going to talk about those in a few seconds, because it's a reason why they did that. So Helios wakes up, and Diana comes to Helios, and because he was like, "What happened?" And Chibi Moon was looking at her crystal like, "What is this?" And Diana tells her that it's her pink moon crystal. And the pink moon crystal was what revived Helios. And the crystal, the Sailor crystal, every Sailor Guardian in the galaxy has one, and it shows off the power that each one of them have. And that's what her crystal is. So at this point, after Usagi and after Nail Queen Serenity and King Endymion send the mirror off, Saturn comes to, this is where, because Helios he was remembering Chibi Moon, and he sees Lady Serenity behind him, and he put two and two together that Chibi Moon is Lady Serenity, who came to him from the distant future. The far distant future. I mean, very far, the 30th century. So they go. So wait, I forgot to tell y'all. Helios do turn. Endymion gives the crystal to Helios, which Helios turns gives him his staff, and the crystal is sitting on top. And I love this, guys. I love it so much. So at this point, we do get the backstory of Usagi. Well, what? Oh my God, I cannot remember. We get the backstory of Serenity, where she was saying that Venus and them was scaring her, and this was in the Dark Moon Kingdom saga. This was a part of that in the manga. So if you guys read the manga, you guys know. But they changed it to give it some more, to give it more length to the series, because this one was very short. So after Queen Serenity tells her that each person has a star within them, to kind of ease Princess Serenity's mind, Endymion was like, well, every time that I always thought I was holding you back, I really wasn't. It was because I had the golden crystal in me. Oh wait, no, that's way after. So, Sailor Saturn comes to Queen Neo Serenity and asks her to, help these guardians. And so Queen Neo Serenity uses her tear on the orbs, and the orbs turn into the quartets. So, they thought they was about to fight, but no, that's not what happened. The Amazonas quartets are now the Sailor Amazonas quartet. And what happened was they're named after asteroids Ves, June, Pada, and Seta. They are, they were never supposed to be awakened, but Zarconia took them and corrupted them with the power of the dark moon, with the dark moon energy. And now that they are free, they can't, they're not supposed to be awakened just yet. And when they will be awakened, they were supposed to be Chibi Moon's guardians. So when they are awakened, they're gonna once they will awake, they will become the guardians of Sailor Chibi Moon. Chibi Moon was like, "Oh, I have my own team," and they told her once she become a full-fledged guardian, they will be awakened to serve and protect her. So Saturn says, "Well, until then, we will make sure to protect her for you." So they go off into their resting spot, and Artemis and Luna does make a note of this whole entire scene was King Endymion's and Neo Queen Serenity's coronation to King and Queen. So to conclude, Helios is taking them all back up to the top. So to get back to the top, Chibi Yusa don't want him to go. She wants him to be her prince. But he says, we will meet again, and that I promise. So he ends up going back to Elysion. Now, this is where I was telling y'all in the beginning, that Mamoru was saying that, all that time that he had this, he was thinking he was holding Usagi back, but he had this power within him. And Usagi was like, well, I was told by someone that, everyone has a star within them. And she said the reason why your chest is hot is because the power, you have the crystal within you. That is not even it. it is setting up for the final arc, which is the Stars arc. And when I tell y'all that the Stars arc is about to be good, I don't know if it's going to be as dark as the comic was, but the comic was very graphic and dark. I'm hoping they keep some of the elements, but I know the grotesque violence that they did in the final art they probably can't do because of children do watch this, so they're gonna have to kind of tame it a little bit. But that was the end of Sailor Moon Eternal movie part 2, guys. It was good. If you have not watched it, please go to Netflix and check it out. I loved it. Oh my god. I'm a Sailor Moon fan, if y'all cannot tell. I've been watching Sailor Moon since what was it? 94. That's when I've been, and I was 14, so I'm 41 now. So y'all do the math. All right, guys. Thank y'all for coming. Thank you for all the new subscribers. Thank you for everyone. I love you all. And please check this out. This was a great film, and I will see you guys later.